We have actually 4 questions when we are doing the art with the people in social context. What we are now with Ira opening up to you. We asked that what is social context and what does mean societal? We have some answers, not completely well done, but some answers. And we also ask why to make art, the art with people. What is the reason or starting point, and how to face and encounter people, individual or community, different kind of group of peoples, different ages, and different challenges what people could ever have. And that face our main question and the core of whole presentation and our viewpoint, that is ethics. What is the ethics when we are working in a social context? Art and individual people, how they are connected in this frame what we are now opening up. First, if we are looking art, we have already talked about that art for art's sake. And if we have some examples, for example, from visual art area, there are in art history such of like black squares from Malevich and that kind of stuff. They are only referring art and art history, or modern ballet, that kind of things that when you are going to modern ballet and it's commenting only a dance history. There is actually nothing else but commenting the way of classic ballet is doing system or the movement itself. It doesn't comment our life or our emotions, or it's not expression of any inner life or commenting the world beside us. It's commenting art and referring art. And then if we go closer, that kind of art which is done for society, it could be something which is commenting or making a even a transformation to society, commenting what is the status of certain people or certain group of people. For example, what comes examples to my mind, one performance where a Finnish performance artist took a group of people and then they made visible how immigrant people feel when they come inside to the Finland, and they were doing it with a movement that they have a luggage and then they just go around and they had a white blouse, and it was very much political comment on refugee politics and connected to the individual politics, that how you feel. So it's not commenting art in such, it's commenting society and politics. And then if we look at what is the position of individual person in area of art or context of art, and how we face it when we are presenting today to you. Yesterday and also in Christina's presentation, there were of course a different kind of viewpoints, but we talk about a lot about how to be an audience, to buy a ticket, to have a whole experience, and also a little bit how to involve. For example, having a discussion with the artist afterwards, after performance or concert or something. There, in that side, individual person is a consumer of art, buying a ticket, making choices. Probably someone is asking, are you going to buy a ticket if we have this kind of concert? No, yes, probably yes, maybe. That is the position. And then if we go to that right, is it right for you? Yeah, right side. Then the individual person is an active subject doing art. And of course there are artist people, but we can be involved in so deep way to art that we are making art. Not be part of audience, but doing and be active part of cultural life. And then it doesn't always mean that it's happening in some institutional places like museums or concert halls, or that's kind of a places. It could happen between some community in some urban area, in places like Happy you yesterday were. But the people are making art for themselves and probably for someone else's, members of their own community or wider community, or even for whole society. So these are the different viewpoints and different kind of art pieces what we are going to face even today. They are positioned in different kind of places. Example about the Malevich black squares, they are somewhere here. Someone is going to gallery and facing that kind of art. He's a very passive, or not passive is not probably the correct word. If you are looking at paintings, you are probably active inside of you, but you are not the subject. You are not doing yourself. And then when you are looking at a performance about the refugee peoples, you are spectator, but you are viewing, not being involved. And then there are some involving engagement and so on, and how it's commenting. So you can use this kind of frame when you, for example, analyzing your own case, that where is the position of that case in this frame. Okay, the society. We often deal, it's very common way of deal the whole society in different of sectors, in parts. And private sector has that kind of meaning that it means entrepreneurs, private companies. It could be a one-person company or even global company like Microsoft or something like that. But private means not private life, but private sector as a how to make the services. And then, for example, social services sector, when we look at the whole society, there are very important part, so-called third sector, which is NGOs, non-governmental organizations, associations, and nowadays in Finland, when the structure of whole society is very much changing, the third sector has more and more responsibility also about social services and health services and things like that. Recently, or current, the family and friends are called also one sector, and that's fourth sector. Not all the social scientists are thinking like that, but some of them are giving that kind of view that it's different part. And here we find, for example, caregivers who are having for example, wife and husband, and then they go old, and another one is very much needing care, and the other one takes the care. And then the public and the fourth sector is dealing the task so that the public sector is giving a little bit money to that caregiver, family caregiver. Disabled people and they, family caregivers, also have commitment to the public sector.
One question. In the fourth sector, is there also environment, like the place you live, your neighbors or stuff, or not? Could you say so?
Normally they say that friends and neighborhood friends could be that. Yeah. But that what you said about first, I thought that you mean environment, like forest and urban and that kind of. But you mean social environment. Yeah. I would say that it's in fourth sector. Yeah. Well, social services, what we are educating in Laurea, of course there are coming some entrepreneurs and they get their position in private area, but still in Finland and in Scandinavia the public social services are quite huge. Like you faced yesterday, what kind of stuff, for example, we have Uusiksverstaat and Happi. And when we have to argument why we have that kind of a huge public sector in social services or healthcare or other public services like education and that kind of then there are very different kind of frames to say it why. And let's go a little bit. For example, if we have a good public services in social services area, then we have some kind of consensus among the social classes. And society runs much more fluently. There are not such a crisis between the classes and that's the way how the Scandinavian society is trying to do it, I guess. And societal peace, peaceful, safe. Of course it's connected the first one, but a little bit different angle. The peace and safetyness is in the core in that kind of argumentation. Charity is one argument, and that kind of charity that I will help you, and when I needed help, that time I will have help from you, example. So that it has some kind of roots in Christianity or other churches and religions also. And beside of church and religions, there is also a moral philosophical basis for giving help and care and stand by someone, give a social services. And then there is that argumentation what we have already heard quite many times here, also yesterday and the day before, promoting economical growth. But you have to remember that it's only a one argumentation for social services. It's not only one. It has quite important role in today, and societal discussion is very much around that. But it's not the only one. It's not the only argumentation. The economical system what we nowadays have, there are roots, that kind of ideological thinking that if we have a good public sector and good social services, good health services, good educational services, then we in a way produce a good citizenship to the private area to be employed and to be a good worker, good money maker and money dealer in different areas. And that's why that economical viewpoint is somehow have a so core role in current discussion, but it's not must. There are also other viewpoints, whole society and way of how the society is working and how the communities and groups are dealing with together. And when we are talking about social services and social sector, of course we have to ask that if we combine art there, what's happening and to combining what? If we very much do it like easier way to tell what is social services and social working in not only in Finland but everywhere. Education and preventative work is the case where there is not actually any problems, not yet, or there are only small signs of probably challenges are coming up, or we know some indicators that we know that now someone is under challenges, and then preventative work is important part. If something happens, something crisis comes up in one's life, then there is a special area of social services and healthcare what comes up. And afterwards, crises, there is a long-term rehabilitative work, therapies, and cooperation with healthcare and social services are very deep commitment between those areas in that rehabilitative work and therapies. Okay, then how to combine art? There could be an art-based work, so that we do only different way, artistic way, something like create a dialogue with the client through art. We can apply arts, not doing art for art's sake, but apply, making art-like things. And we can yawn or have a basis in arts so that we are aware that art is, or it could be, there is therapeutic effect, even though we are not therapists. And then, of course, there is a own professional area where works people who have education for the therapies. So very different kind of angles, and I'll go deeper on that later on. It might be a new angle if one has that kind of opinion that, like traditional vision is that art often based on idea of individual artist, that the artist is the important person in the setting. And when we remake that setting, that there is everybody who are joining are important, equal, totally equal. It's a different situation then. We would say, I think that Ida is also saying something about that, and also have some good examples that art is not automatically meaning good things. art is not healing you, that it's like a medicine that you take some concerts and or you are joining and you are by yourself making some dance and then you are health and well-being. No, art processes are unexpected, and that's quite a crucial thing. Of course, if you are guiding some processes, you can be aware what could happen and what kind of things you can do with certain people. In crisis work, you have to be especially aware, or rehabilitation work, you have to be especially aware what kind of background people have. You can't be aware of everything. We all have such experiences that I can't know, even though I ask you beforehand that, is it okay that we are going to work with that or that theme? But the themes what we somehow give to the people, we can already then make a choices that how deep we are going to go with things. So the ethics are coming up. We can't do anything with everybody. We have to make choices and ask and be aware and like Kristiina said that what kind of motivation people have, you can't always ask that what kind of motivation. I have to just make observation, and the professionality is that you can straight ask, but you also have to be aware such a things that even the client is not him or herself is aware. Okay, frame menu for the making of art with a societal impact. I have this is not a completely done whole area or whole frame, but I just would give some examples that there are different kind of contexts, different kind of headers or topics, and you have to go deeper in that side, which is concerning, for example, your case or when you are later on managing cultural projects, what is the context of that. Here are some books which I would like to go around, and social engaged art is one way to call the work of where people are doing together art. And Pablo Helguera, I don't know if it's say Helguera, Helguera, or how to pronounce it. How? Helguera, Pablo Helguera. Yeah. This is a very good small book. I would even make it a course book of a MAPSI, but sight reading. And then there are Reader, which is many good writers picked up articles about participation in contemporary art and different angles. And just example, my favorite philosophical thinker in Europe, Jacques Rancière. French guy, because my bases are quite a lot in that kind of thinking, that why. But the social engaged art is Helguera's way of thinking and very good framing. You must have already some kind of idea of what is community art, but always with every process and every art piece of community art, there is a new kind of saying what does it mean. Then there are way of working to called collaborative art, and it means more if comparing to community art, for example, more often in community art, artist is somehow mastering the process, having a vision or having an idea, and then having a group of people or community, and they are making together. But the artistic choices are mostly done by artists. In collaborative art, there could be an artist or art educator or social worker who is guiding art process, but not having any idea in the beginning, because no one has, and it's done together, totally together. The idea comes up from the group, and then it's feeded and growing up and coming through. Then there could be a so-called activist art, that someone or some group have it could be a political or in societal idea that something should be changed, and then they make art with some people and looking after change and transformation and that kind of a very clear political vision. It doesn't necessarily mean that political in a right wing and left wing frame, but political in a societal frame. Then there are, for example, critical art education. That kind of art education which could be happen inside of schools, but also, for example, in a youth work or with the elder people. It's much common with activist art in that way that it's giving empowering and idea that you are owning your own vision, and teaching is not something that I give from my higher position something to you, but we are together having a reflection, discussions, and reflecting also through the art things, how they are in the world, or in our society, or in our community. Very clear for critical art education is pedagogy, which is also mentioned in Elguera's book. There are one yellow sign in that it's combining art and education. In that way, it's not connected academic art, but new ways of doing. Then, for example, Norton is writing about innovative interventions. Intervention is important or hard phenomena in social work and social services. Someone is stopping or making intervention to your life and with you together understanding, or you are able to understand your own life. And when doing it through art or with creative methods, creative ways, then one can call it that it's the frame of innovative interventions. And then there is, of course, different art therapies. Psychodrama, art therapy of visual arts, music therapy, literature therapy, film therapy, dance therapy, different kind of them. So you can see that there are three headers, like art, social engaged art, community art, collaborative art, and then educational side of working, and then therapy side. All those have certain professionalities who can guide or lead or master or be together with people. They can be educational stuff like art teachers. They can be artists. They can be therapy people. And also it could be so that social worker or social services employed people can have a different kind of angles, like educational way of working or artistic way of working or therapeutic way of working. Okay, so someone is coming together, engaging people, and we have to understand, is art a tool, an instrument? Is it a method? Could we talk about it, that it's a context? Is it a certain language, way of communication, or what is it? And like Christina already said in her presentation, you have to understand. If you are artist or you are manager, you have to understand that what kind of viewpoint you are now doing. If art is way of understanding world or oneself, then art is somehow doing reflection. It's a meta reflection. For example, Davies has written about that viewpoint. Art could be an emancipation. It's empowering people or oneself. One can empowered by art or through art. And that black book by Rancière I let go around, it's about that. And art is sensitive, it's a metaphoric way of working, even unverbal, and that why going probably deeper or in other way. No, not deeper, but it could be deeper, but it could be different way of working when we are doing like verbal working, discussing. And that is cause of, like Atkinson, one art educate researcher, saying that the poetic materiality of art is the point. Okay,